Welcome to Thinking Green. I'm Rana. And if it makes any difference to you, this show is being taped ahead of time. So if you were thinking about calling in, I'm sorry, you can't. We're taping on Tuesday afternoon for the show this evening. As we've been doing for the last few weeks, and will be continuing to, we're highlighting different nonprofit and charitable organizations in Southeast Connecticut, largely because it's the holiday season. Many organizations are fundraising right now. Many individuals are thinking about what kind of gifts to provide to celebrate the season. Ironically, next week is going to be a little bit of a departure. Brian Dowdy, who's on the Solid Waste Task Force in New London, will be on, and he'll be talking about the problems of disposing of too much trash. And I see these shows as a way to kind of combat that problem, reduce what we're using in our giving season by spending our money to make a difference. So with that in mind, today's guest is Pamela Atkins. She's the president of the auxiliary at Lawrence Memorial Hospital, now Yale also. And we're going to talk about the different things that the auxiliary does and some upcoming events. So welcome, Pam.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. There are some organizations that don't come on every year, but they've been on, several times, and the auxiliary is totally new. So I think that's for me, it's really great because I get to hear about things going on in the community that I wasn't really that aware of. I guess to start out, can you give a brief description of the history and the mission of the auxiliary?
Well, the history was, the auxiliary is now 104 years old.
Wow.
It was started by Janine Pond, and it basically, the mission was to make the community and the patients and families of Lawrence Memorial Hospital more comfortable and to contribute to their health care. And that's been our mission from the beginning, and we are still carrying that on.
So when was the hospital founded? Did this happen early in the hospital's history?
I believe the auxiliary is 1 year younger than the hospital.
Only 1 year though, so it really kind of came up in tandem with the hospital.
Yes.
So how did you get involved in the auxiliary?
Well, I was a member of LAMS, which is another organization within the hospital, and that stands for Lawrence Memorial Benefactor Society. And it's another fundraising society within Lawrence Memorial Hospital, but they usually handle bigger things than the auxiliary. They will purchase ambulances. They have 2 functions a year, a fall and a spring function, where they bring all the members together to have a nice social time. But the main function of that organization is to also raise funds so that they can better the community and the hospital. While I was a member of LAMS, I was approached and also met many of the members of the auxiliary and was asked to join, and I thought it would be fun to do that. Little did I know what I'd get myself into. And I was a member, and then I was asked to be on the finance committee, and here I am as president. But it's been a good run, and I'm very pleased and honored to be a part of the auxiliary.
Now, auxiliary started out mostly as women's groups originally. Is that still the case?
No, we actually have many male members, and we're happy to have more. So it's no longer called Ladies Auxiliary. It was at one time, and I believe it was. There were a lot of doctors' wives that were a part of it, but now we have, a lot of working women, a lot of people and men, and people that have community ties and are, are helpful. Things change, and we have to evolve with that. So
Yeah, don't we all? Now, one of the reasons that we're having you on at this time is that you have a big event coming up.
we do. We have started our first year. The event is called Lights of Love, and it's a fundraiser to support the auxiliary. And what this means is you would make a donation in honor or in memory of someone. Could even be for yourself. People have done it for organizations. One was even for a street in New London. So, and as the monies come in, we light up more of the outside lights of the hospital. So this idea was actually, it's already happening in Westerly, the Westerly Hospital, and the auxiliary there has been doing this for over 30 years. Some of our employees of Lawrence Memorial knew about this and wanted to have it light New London up as well and give a feeling of festivities to our hospital and a way to just enhance things and make known some of the memories that might make them feel better. So we have been very happy to start this, and it's been very successful. We actually are close to $8,000 already. So that's wonderful for our first year, and we thank everyone who has contributed. But next Thursday is going to be our lighting, our official lighting. So we hope people can come and join us. And if you contribute, it's actually in increments. They're sort of strange, but it is our first year, so we're sort of feeling our way.
It's a pretty wide range.
It's a wide range
for anyone.
$10 is called a love light. $25 is a bright star. $50 is a shining star. $100 is a shooting star, and $1,000 is a superstar. And if you contribute $100 or higher, you also have an ornament on the inside tree that has the name of the person you're honoring. We also want to make sure that all of these people that are being honored are listed, and they're in the lobby, and all the names are there. So it doesn't matter how much you contribute, your honoree is going to be listed. It's a beautiful display. It looks really, really nice. So
now, how long are the lights going to stay up? I think we are like approaching the winter solstice, and the world is cold and dark. So we all love seeing lights.
We do, and the lights will be on officially that I know about until January 6th. So again, it was our first year, so we may change that in the future. But we were going into the Epiphany and using that date. So that's how it's going to be this particular year.
Now, I noticed for the lighting, what kind of celebration is there? It's something in the lobby?
It's just a small celebration. We'll light the trees outside and in, and we're having some light refreshments, cider and hot chocolate and some cookies, and just a way for people to come and see what's been put up. And if you'd like to be, one of the people that has their honoree there, and just to join us for something fun and exciting.
Now, how does a person go about donating? Is there an online form?
There is. You can go to there's an email. It's auxlmhospital@gmail.com. And also facebook.com/LM Auxiliary. You can do that. There is a display in the lobby with cards that you can complete and self-addressed envelopes, prepaid. And those are the ways you can find out about it.
Now, you have an envelope with you. I
We
think
do, yep.
we should show people just what you can pick up at the...
It's a package like so. And, oops, wrong way. And then this is the flyer that...
You can hold that up. Okay, well, you can hold that up.
Okay. And then the envelope is here, and then this is the card, and it's all together there in the lobby. And the front desk will help you because they're very happy to be a part of it. So,
So now that we've told people about the event and how they can donate, I think it would be a good idea to talk about some of the programs that the auxiliary supports. I've also been aware of, the lobby shop forever. I worked at the hospital 30 years ago and it was there.
Yeah.
But I really, to this day, don't know what the auxiliary pays for.
Well, the lobby shop is a part of the auxiliary. We do own the lobby shop, and it has lovely things, and they're beautiful gifts for Christmas. So please stop in and see what you might find that's nice there. But our mission again is to enhance the comfort of our patients and their families and the community at the hospital. So what we do is we ask our department heads to let us know at a certain time during the year what they might need to better make that happen for the patients. One of our main things is the special needs closet, which is the closet that is run through patient relations. And if you happen to be someone maybe who's in town with a car accident, you have no one around you, you might need some extra clothing or toiletries or that sort of thing, we help supply that closet. Or if someone is homeless or someone is elderly, they might be leaving the hospital, have a need for extra things. We try not to let anyone leave without a coat and shoes. And those things are donated to that closet. The auxiliary spends a lot of time making sure the closet is full. So that is one of our main things. They need to be new items. So if anyone's interested in helping us with that, we'd love to hear from you. Again, that same email that I gave can help you with that. We also supply the funds for the beverage cart and the magazine cart, which people sometimes take for granted is just a hospital thing. So we make sure that is filled and there for our patients and for their loved ones while they're waiting. We have, we just reached out to the center we were discussing.
The Homeless Hospitality Center.
For the respite center. That was one of our items. Last year we supplied money for blanket warmers for the surgical units. If you've ever had surgery and you need that blanket, that is a really wonderful thing. That was a big thing, and we were very happy to do that. We have supplied funds for Pond House. They're doing a program where they're trying to have the patients realize that physical activity can help you emotionally, and we were able to contribute money for them to purchase pedometers this year, giving some sort of a clock to see your improvement, which I know I always need that encouragement if I'm exercising especially. We've given things to the NICU unit for the infants that are there over the Christmas season. We made sure they had something festive. They all went home with a book that was Twice the Night Before Christmas. We make sure that if it's something that we can handle with our fundraising, because we can't handle it all. We try so hard to use our events to take care of these items, but I think it's been very successful the last 2 years especially. We also contributed a Bright Bicycle to the rehab center, cardiac rehab. We have supplied videos and educational programs for pathology, helping people with swallowing difficulties, learning how to use their blenders, and with nourishing foods. List kind of goes on and on.
Well, it strikes me how varied it is, because depending on the department,
Exactly.
the needs
Yeah.
seem to be everything from, things to help physical comfort to education,
Yeah.
to other sorts of things. Now, I wanted to ask you, though, you had mentioned when we were talking before the show that you have other fundraising events coming up in
Yes,
2019.
we
So
do.
this one is the one that's coming up
Right now,
sooner,
right,
this
yes.
Lights of Love. But what can people look forward to over the next 6 months or 8 months?
Well, February 8th, Friday night, we have our Valentine Dance, which is another one of our bigger fundraisers, and that will be held at the Mystic Marriott, and it is going to be a refreshments with pasta stations and cash bar. The Cartels will be playing, and they've been playing. We've had this dance for several years now. I think this may be our 10th year. I haven't researched that for sure. And it had normally been over at Ocean Beach, but we thought we would try something a little different this year. And Mystic Marriott has offered their facility, and we're very excited about it. That'll be a fun night. And we have wonderful auction items and silent auction items, and that's our biggest fundraiser, actually. So we really hope people come out and enjoy something fun for a Valentine's season there.
And it kind of makes sense to, move it around a little bit because,
Yeah.
people, those who live in New London, we think of it as our city hospital, but really it's a very regional facility.
True. Yes. Yes. The hospital does take in, quite a bit of New London County, and it stretches. I believe, basically Pawcatuck to East Lyme or Old Saybrook might be going into another
Yeah, you might
area.
start getting
Yeah.
into the Middlesex
when you go
area.
into the crossing the river there. But yeah, it's a broad amount of communities. So yeah, we like to try to move it around a little bit. We also have a garden luncheon coming up, and that will be June 2nd, and that's going to be at the Norwich Inn and Spa, and that's going to be something a little different. We have in the past had a tea, and that was at the Ocean House in Westerly, which was lovely, but we thought we would try to mix it up again a little bit and also be able to have some spouses come, because the tea was inferred to be ladies only. It wasn't necessarily, but and it was a fun time. We had our special hats and had a really good time at the Ocean House. But we thought, again, we would try something different, and this will be bring your favorite beau, wear your pretty hat again. We may have some blues music in the background, and the grounds at the Norwich Inn and Spa are beautiful, so we think that'll be a lovely time there.
Now, what was the date of that? Or
That's June 2nd.
so you have quite a few fundraisers throughout
We
the
do,
year.
yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit more. I know that you said something about one of the things you do is sponsor like educational programs,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to give people an idea of what kind of
Okay.
things that could include. I think everyone, you think of a hospital, you go there when you're sick or you need surgery, and you don't really think about everything else in the
Yeah.
healthcare realm that is available through the hospital, but not necessarily directly, part of
Yeah.
your medical care.
Well, one of the things is the Cardiac Rehab Center will have nutritional, educational conferences for them, so that they can then maybe have a video put together for us to distribute, or for them to distribute to patients. I know that there was one of the programs that we contributed to this year is doing a program for educating young mothers on how to properly feed and nourish their children, making sure they have proper books for their specific situation, where they may live, if the child had any special needs. Those are the two that I can think of right off the top of my head. I know for a while we had a program that was featuring dietary issues, specifically the Mediterranean diet, and I'm not sure that that is still going on, but those are at least a couple that I can think of for the moment.
And it's not all the auxiliary, but when I went on to the L&M website, I was struck, like if you look at the calendar of classes and activities, it's like there is a huge amount going on there. And even though I know it isn't, the auxiliaries work, I think it would be helpful for people to just get an idea of like all the different support groups that are available. And, if you go to the hospital website, you can find out about it. There are AA programs, there are support groups for, people with traumatic brain injury, for breast cancer, for breastfeeding, for, loss of spouse support, Parkinson's support, stroke recovery, survivors of homicide. So, both physical and mental health, I think people should know that there is a lot going on at the hospital that are some of them weekly, some of them monthly, but ways that people in the community can connect over shared issues, which there really isn't another place where you can do that.
And education is always wonderful. I mean, the more you know about all of these things, the better you can take care of yourself and your family. So it would be important for people to check the website to do that.
One thing I remember from when I worked there was, and I don't know if this is still happening, but there was a program for little kids who had a baby on the way in their families, and it was like a big brother, big sister. Not class, I don't know what you would call it, but like a preparedness thing, what to expect when you're suddenly a big brother or a big sister. And it was extremely popular. I worked with children from 1 to 3 years old, and they were very often in the situation that they were going to go from being, sometimes the only child to the big kid. And it was a really helpful experience for them to be able to take a tour, and they'd see, where their brother or sister would be born, and it was really a great experience for them.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a good idea. Another thing that people could do is contact volunteer services. If they're interested in volunteering for something at the hospital. It isn't part of the auxiliary per se. However, we do work with them, and they are always looking for help if you'd like to be a part of that. So that's another
thing. You had mentioned that people love working in the lobby shop, but what other general types of volunteering can people do?
Well, I believe there's a need for people to transport people from place to place, working the beverage cart, volunteering for that, and the magazine cart, working at the front desk. I'm sure there's many other things, but those are the ones that I could think of right now. Yeah.
Now, one thing we were talking about before the show a little bit, and I think it came up here, was partnering with like the Homeless Hospitality Center, where, and just in a general way, we like to talk about some of the like big overreaching issues. It seems as though on both the federal level and the state level, and maybe municipal as well, the government is not, the safety net is sort of disintegrating. And it seems as though nonprofit organizations are filling the gap. And I guess I'd like to talk about how the hospital can fit in with other community organizations partnering to help provide the health side of services that others might be experiencing, like the Homeless Hospitality Center or, Safe Futures, Domestic Violence Center.
Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit to how the hospital can work with other organizations to fill some gaps in our community?
Well, I honestly don't know exactly how the hospital themselves is meshing with that. I know they are, and I know there are many programs. I'm not really involved in that part of it, but the auxiliary does have a community outreach committee. And so this past year we did a baby shower, and we helped 4 different organizations with having our membership contribute diapers and wipes and shampoos and that sort of thing. And that's one of the ways that our auxiliary has helped with that. We have planned to help give to a Safe Futures family for Christmas. We have to be a little careful because our bylaws don't allow us to fundraise for another organization. However, our membership is very generous, and we pull together to take care of these type things. So that has worked out well for us. We have a new chairperson doing the community outreach. It's actually Diana Bassetto, and she's done a wonderful job this year, and I look forward to hearing more of her ideas for the upcoming year. But that's really all I can speak to that I have the personal knowledge
I was just
of.
interested in hearing, because more and more, like last week when Kathy Zoll from the Homeless Hospitality Center was on the show, she was talking about the respite center that they're going to be building, and it just struck me how important it is nowadays that if you want to provide wraparound services, all of our organizations just have to kind of pull together and each contribute according to its own specialty and expertise.
Exactly.
But really having to communicate in a big way.
We did do a race this past October in collaboration with the Emerson Theater Collaborative and Hospice Care. I'm not saying it.
The Center for
Hospice Care. Thank you. And we had food donated by Stop and Shop, and we had quite a bit left, and that was donated to the meal center. So those are the ways that we're doing it. That we can. When we have something like that's ready to go to another cause, we certainly don't hesitate. That was an easy fix, and apparently they were quite thrilled because some of the things were things they don't, like fresh fruits and things which are things they don't just get those.
No.
So, so that was it's heartwarming to know that you're helping another place, in an essence.
And now, have you noticed any real difference in the auxiliary with Yale taking over and merging with L&M Hospital?
There hasn't. Well, there have been a few changes. Sometimes things take maybe a little bit longer just because there's one more place to go. But we have a great development office deals with us directly, and they are the same people. And we have a wonderful relationship with them, and they help us get what we need done. And they have been very helpful with this Lights of Love program. So I think it's all good. I mean, ultimately it's all good. Sometimes when there's another entity, a bigger entity, things take a little longer, but.
Well, L&M has had the relationship with Westerly Hospital for quite a long time now, but I wonder, do the various other Yale-affiliated hospitals have their own auxiliaries?
They do. Yes, they do.
Have you seen any difference in focus, or are they all kind of similar in their mission?
I believe that they're similar in their mission. I think the focus is made change according to the needs of the community. And I, only really know about the one that we're in. And actually, Westerly is doing their lighting of Lights of Love tonight, and it was through them that we started ours. So I'll be going to that, and
which is why we're taping our show and not doing it live later on in the day.
So it's exactly. So it's going to be a nice event for them, and we thank them for all the help that they've given us.
And you would say that theirs has been going on for decades.
They've been doing it for 30 years. So so it's great that we have that relationship, and I've just sort of created that with the president of that auxiliary. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they do things there.
So back to the auxiliary at L&M, how is it structured? I mean, if people want to join, what do they do?
Okay, well, we actually have an application. The application has a place for your name, address, and all of that, but also lists all of the committees that we have. So if you're interested in something special, you indicate that there. It's $35 a year to be a member. And we have board meetings and the membership's always invited to those, but there are actually 2 meetings that are dinner meetings, and the membership comes to that. There's one in May and one in November. They're held at the hospital, and once we have your application and the committees you're interested in, we contact you and see what we can do to get you involved. It's pretty simple. And as far as how to get the application, you could use the email again that I mentioned, and I'd be happy to supply you with that. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned that you had kind of gotten drawn into the finance committee to start with. Can you mention the different committees and just generally what their role is within the organization?
Well, the finance committee obviously takes care of overseeing our finances, our fundraising, and our invoices and expenses and all the things that you would expect a finance company to do. The community outreach takes care of finding ideas to reach out to the community. Our membership committee takes care of keeping the membership updated and notifying them of our events, as well as myself. I do that as well. We have our vice president is actually in charge of fundraising. So they are in charge of keeping the membership aware that our events are coming up. Our first Valentine's Dance meeting is actually this coming Thursday evening. So if anyone's interested and would like to be a part.
So you have a committee that's planning that?
We do, yes. And
maybe you should give that email address again, just
sure,
in case
I will.
People are interested in getting involved with that sort of thing.
AUXLMhospital@gmail.com. And we have a historian, which is actually someone who actually worked with a committee member, brought our history up to date. So we can just start from here now and make our new history. So that's been wonderful. We have a little booklet.
What kind of tidbits has the historian dug up?
Oh, it had all sorts of wonderful things showing pictures of our events and things that we've done over the years, and our galas and dances, and it was fun to go back and see.
Yeah, it would be fun to look at the archives, I think.
There would be, and in the lobby of the hospital, there's actually a timeline of posters that is a great example of that. So that would be worthwhile to come and check out. When you come to the lobby shop, you can check that out.
Well, yeah, just thinking about your being on the show, I was remembering what the hospital lobby used to look like back when, in the 70s and 80s. Yeah. And it's changed a lot.
It has, yes. There's now a coffee shop in there. Again, a very small area, but you can come in the lobby and
it's all open to the public.
It is, yes, absolutely, yes.
And I must say, I remember from when I worked there that the lobby shop was a fantastic place to buy gifts for, you know, I worked with a lot of women who had babies, and
Yes.
you know, to get gifts for not only people in the hospital, but just as a general resource. I don't know who does the purchasing for that lobby shop.
Well, our manager is Denise Gagno, and she does the purchasing. She does a wonderful job. In fact, speaking of baby things, one of our community members donated a bag of yarn to us, and there, at one time, there was a committee of ladies, not so much in the auxiliary, but in the hospital, that knitted the little caps for the newborns. And I guess that has disbanded right now. So I asked around, and no one seemed to know. And so I called the woman and said, if I make some baby items to sell in the lobby shop, would you be okay with that? Or would you like the yarn back? Because I wanted to make sure she was happy. She says, no, that's a great idea. So I went to the manager and asked her if she would be willing to sell the items if I made them, and donated my labor. And she has 4 of them now. So she was very pleased. So hopefully they're
So maybe you'll have a knitting committee.
There may be a knitting committee, yes. Yes. When I'm no longer president, I can be in charge of that.
Yeah, that sounds actually
Kind of
more fun than being president.
I
I
think
hate
it
to
might
say
be.
that, but
But she has lovely things. There's a beautiful area for children and babies. There's housewares that are just very different and unusual, nice gifts, beautiful ornaments this year, and some lovely clothing and Spartina purses, and Vera Bradley. Vera
I have no
Bradley,
idea.
not Vera Wang. And cards and just some nice things. So it is worth a trip to come and see it. Yeah.
Now, so you mentioned the finance committee, community outreach, the historian, and honestly, I think it would be interested if at some point you published, I don't know if necessarily a book.
We actually did that. Yeah. We have a booklet that's been published. Well, not published. It's published for us, and all the members received it. But it is something that is available to review. We had to limit the amount of them that we did, but it's a great little.
And I see. The board of directors, other people involved. I don't. How often do you change officers? Are you in this for
2 years?
A long stretch now.
Every 2 years. So I have a year to go. I've just completed my first year in November, so I'm up for another year. Yeah.
Now, do you have any particular goals for your next year, like personal goals of things that you would like to see happen?
Well, I'm very excited about this Lights of Love. That was a new initiative, and I'm very honored that I was able to get it off the ground. I would like to see more of our own membership be a part of our active events. But, I understand people have a lot of commitments, and it's difficult. But I'd like to see more of them come to our events. And maybe some of these that we're changing up might entice people a little bit. So.
I know that people seem so busy now, and just like paying the membership is all they can do.
Yeah.
But
which is wonderful, and we appreciate that. But sometimes that barely covers the cost of being a member. So and when you do become a member of something, it's nice to be active in it.
Well, it seems as though you have quite a few committees, too, that
we do.
They work to get you involved, that they could work to get other people involved as well.
Yes, that would be helpful. We need to do that.
Now, when did you say is your next member meeting? I'm guessing your regular
well,
meetings
that would be
open.
May. The end of May, I believe it's the 4th Wednesday of May, would be the dinner meeting. And all of the membership is sent an invitation to come to that. So yeah, and it's held at the hospital. The hospital does provide that dinner for us, which is very generous, and we appreciate that.
So
it's
they
a
do
lovely
that like
time.
twice a year?
Twice a year, and we have, at the May meeting, we have a speaker come in. Sometimes it's someone from the hospital, sometimes it's another nonprofit that will talk about their issues and ways that we as individuals can help them, or as a committee, or as a membership. You know, we always learn from one another. So in November, that meeting is really to distribute the funds to the departments, and that's my favorite one, because giving the money back, and we were able to do $21,000 in donations, or turning over to the hospital from our events to the different programs. And the auxiliary also contributed to the capital campaign for the Cancer Center. And this year we were able to turn $150,000 over to almost finish our pledge. So I was excited about that.
That's a significant amount.
It is, yes.
Now, is it earmarked for any specific use within the Cancer Center, or is it?
Well, that was the actual pledge to the hospital, so it's up to them to use at this point.
However they need it.
That's right, yeah.
Now, you mentioned that the main way you find out or decide what you want to spend the money on comes from the individual departments. So, you know, we all know about, you know, newborn NICU, but what departments are in the hospital? I mean, to sound, you know, might sound ignorant, but I don't even really know.
Well, there was the patient relations that I spoke about, pathology department, actually really taxing my brain here. Let me see.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I should have been more prepared to give you that. Well, the NICU, as you said. Well, the surgical units, when they were
that would probably be huge.
For the blanket warmers.
And you had mentioned the cardiac.
A cardiac rehab. And also the cardiac rehab has educational things that we have contributed to there as well.
And, you know, before we finish up, and I'll have you give details about the Lights of Love before we finish, but I just wanted some people to be aware of, like, some of the other, you know, hospital-related stuff that happens. I know it isn't part of the auxiliary, but we don't usually, like, get like bigwigs from the hospital to come and tell us what you can find there. And, you know, when I was looking around on the website, on the calendar of activities, I was pretty surprised. Okay, just today, December 4th, there were like 5 different things on the calendar that range from breastfeeding support, pre-op for joint replacement, caregiver support, maternity tours, and caring for the new mom. So, and I went through the calendar, and I won't say every day are 5 things going on, but every day there is something going on. And, you know, I think people should know that, you know, the hospital is part of our community, and we should use it, take advantage of it.
One of the reasons that I was involved in any of the hospital functions, and as a contributor myself, my husband and I personally, is that I feel that someone you love or yourself is going to need it. It's our community hospital, and if you can help in any way to make it better, then that's what you need to do.
I would imagine that every family has had its own experience. I mean, none of us go through life unscathed, right? So we all have some experience with the hospital and needing, you know, intense medical care. And, you know, we are fortunate in Southeast Connecticut. It's close and it's pretty connected to the community, which I'm not sure every place has.
No, we are fortunate. Yeah.
So maybe just let people know about
Sure.
Lights of Love again.
So again, we're doing our tree lighting on Thursday the 13th at 5. And we hope that you can come and enjoy us for some light refreshments. And again, the donations will help the auxiliary give to these programs, and it'll help light up the outside of the hospital. The more you can give, the more lights we'll have. And
I live in that neighborhood, so it helps.
And it helps cheer things
Helps
up.
light
What I was
that.
very excited about was the employees of the hospital seemed to be very excited about this. So that was very encouraging, because you always want to keep a nice high morale and get people excited about the holiday.
And it isn't always easy work.
No, it isn't. There's a lot of a lot of reasons people are going to the hospital. They're not all for newborns or things. So, and it's nice to have something pretty to see and to look at. So, actually, our list was just updated this morning. And if you have contributed, your name should be there, or the name of your honoree. But we'd love to have you come and join us next week. And hopefully, if you haven't contributed, maybe you'd like to help light up a light.
And that is next week, Thursday December
the 13th. Yes.
13th. Well, before we sign off, we always end our show with a community calendar, and which gives different events. And I think the Lights of Love is on our community calendar. We pre-tape it. But something came in just today that I wanted to read off because we left it off the calendar. On next Wednesday, December 12th, there's going to be a program at Sound Community Services called Housing After Prison. And it's hosted by the Connecticut Commission on Equity and Opportunity, as well as a few other organizations. It's a part of a statewide listening tour. So Wednesday, the 12th, 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. If you are interested in the issue, we want you to know about it. And so thank you so much for coming on the show today, Pam.
Thank you.
It was fun. And I learned some stuff about the hospital that I live like 3 blocks away from. But I don't visit inside all that much.
You don't want to have to get a room there.
No, I'd rather not. So next week, as I had mentioned, our guest will be Brian Dowdy. He's the head of New London Solid Waste Task Force. And as people in all of our communities all over our country know, we have a problem with what to do with all of our waste, both in terms of pollution of the planet and in terms of costs to our city. So we're going to have a pretty detailed talk about what New London is talking about in terms of trash. So we'll see you next week, and thank you again, Pam.
Thank you so much.
Afrika, piga ngoma yako mama. Africa, Sana Africa, we go Africa, yo.